Welcome to the Infrastructure Podcast. My name is Anthony Oliver, and today we will be exploring the role that academia and research can and must play in transforming the infrastructure sector into the modern, joined-up, innovative sector needed to deliver a sustainable future for communities. My guest is Jeni Giambona, Associate Dean of Knowledge Exchange and Enterprise at the University of Southampton Business School, where she's also a professor and a member of the Centre for Resilient Socio-Technical Systems, and more about that, I'm sure, later. But full alumni disclosure, it's 30 years since I started my own undergraduate course in civil engineering at Southampton University. Fond, if distant memories, even if I'm not sure that anyone there really remembers my particular academic contribution. Anyway, operating at a slightly higher academic level, Jeni has worked in the higher education world and been involved at the sharp end of research for around 2 decades and specialises in knowledge exchange and dissemination, engagement and systems thinking. It's fair to say that driving and investing in innovation remains key to boosting the infrastructure sector's productivity and outcomes, setting up projects in new and better ways. And that means embracing a systems approach and really doubling down on the need for collaboration and supply chain engagement, and of course, investing in new data and digital technologies to help us to truly understand how infrastructure works. All of which is firmly on Jeni's research and teaching agenda at Southampton as she attempts to infect the sector with her passion and her enthusiasm for change and pursuit of better outcomes. So let's hear more. Jeni, welcome to the Infrastructure Podcast.
Hi Anthony, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here and I look forward to our conversation.
Great. Well, Jeni, let's get straight in with the obvious questions. I talked about the key role that academia and research can and must play in transforming the infrastructure sector. So is that how you see it? Did I overstate the case?
No, you didn't. Academia has got an important role to play, but has to be in collaboration with the industry. As the Associate Dean of Knowledge Exchange and Enterprise at University of Southampton Business School, my role mainly centers around bridging this gap that we have between academic research and the real-world applications. It is about ensuring that the knowledge and insights that we generate at the university, and in this case within the business school more specifically, create tangible value for society, business and policymakers. So My work focuses on understanding and enhancing the resilience of complex systems, specifically at the intersection between technology, society and infrastructure. So
that really is around trying to translate, I suppose, the theoretical stuff of research into practical deliverable outcomes. And I know last week you were in Thailand and you were recently in Saudi Arabia as part of the UK Higher Education and Transnational Education Mission. How does all that translate into these practical deliverable outcomes?
So this month has really been an incredible opportunity to see how knowledge exchange and transnational collaborations can unfold on a global stage. My recent visit to Thailand and to Saudi Arabia, and the latter was as part of a UK higher education and transnational education mission, have been deeply tied to my role as Associate Dean of Knowledge Exchange and Enterprise, because these visits are about building bridges and connecting the UK's higher education expertise with international partners and tackle shared challenges to create long-lasting impact.
And I mentioned systems thinking. You and bringing everything together in a more joined-up way. You run the systems thinking and leadership development executive education course at the business school, and we hear huge amounts all the time, Jeni, about this need for a systems approach to infrastructure delivery. Why is it so powerful? I suppose what I'm saying is, give me the pitch for your course.
Right. So you'll have to stop me here because I may go on and on and on and on. Start with the systems thinking and leadership development course. So I'm really passionate about it. So the course specifically is designed to address one of the most pressing challenges that face today's organizations, including those that deal with infrastructure delivery. And this is complexity. So today, infrastructure systems are no longer isolated. Well, they've never been isolated, but today, I think we've realized that more than ever. So these infrastructure systems are deeply interconnected and span technology, society, economics, and the environment. This interdependence makes them more powerful, obviously, but also more vulnerable to disruptions. A systems approach is critical because it helps leaders see the bigger picture, anticipate unintended consequences, and develop solutions that are sustainable and resilient. So let me give you an example of why a systems approach is powerful. So when we are delivering a major infrastructure project, it's not just about building a bridge or a rail line. You are impacting communities, ecosystems, economies, and future generations. So a systems approach ensures that you can identify these interactions and interconnections, have a better chance to spot risks and unintended consequences before they emerge. So we can decide projects that are joined up and maximize long-term value rather than short-term gains. Okay.
Well, a quick check of your bio also tells me that you have a passion for helping the sector to exploit technology. I mean, in particular, a focus on the relationship between trust and the adoption of technology as a fundamental part of engaging stakeholders. Why is that relationship between trust and the adoption of technology so important?
So this relationship is critical, especially in sectors that rely on stakeholder collaboration and shared outcomes. Technology, no matter how innovative, cannot succeed in isolation. It is adopted and sustained by people. So if stakeholders don't trust the technology or the intentions behind the implementation, the chances of achieving meaningful adoption and collaboration decrease significantly. So this trust operates on multiple levels. Firstly, there is the trust in the technology itself. Does it perform reliably? Is it secure? Does it align with ethical considerations? The latter nowadays more important than ever with AI tools. Then there is the trust in the process. And finally, there's the trust in the people and organizations that drive this technological change. Mm-hmm. So if stakeholders believe that technology is being imposed without transparency or shared benefit, then they're far less likely to engage and work collaboratively.
And do you actually see that actively as a problem for the sector at the moment?
I think it is. It is a problem because especially when it comes to working using shared technology from different sectors or organizations, there is the element of trust, especially when you're working remotely or in distributed teams.
Yeah. Well, I mention that because I know alongside the systems thinking, you're also passionate about driving innovation and about building partnerships and, as you put it, making that real world impact. And we just mentioned that translation of the theory into the real world impact. And I suppose, how do you ensure that as an academic you can really get close to people, actually on the practical delivery side and help them to make an impact in the real world?
So ensuring that our work has real world impact is one of my highest priorities. And I try to approach it in three interconnected ways. So by focusing on relevance, collaboration, and accessibility. So relevance is key. Research and teaching are not just about theory for theory's sake. They need to address the pressing challenges that businesses, policymakers, and communities are facing today. So whether it is exploring how systems thinking can enhance infrastructure delivery or how trust influences technology adoption, I try to align my work with real-world needs and ensure that it's got practical application. Similarly, partnerships and collaborations are vital, because to make an impact beyond academia, it is essential to collaborate with those that are directly involved in solving real-world problems. And then there is accessibility, which is crucial. Impact is not just about producing knowledge. It is about sharing it in ways that are clear, actionable, and accessible to a wide audience.
Yeah, which I suppose underlines the reason for titling this podcast Beyond Academic. And I suppose, the University of Southampton Business School, you've got an awful lot of programs going on that are helping to truly engage that real world of infrastructure, one of which is called the Leaders and Entrepreneurs in Residence program. What is that program? Who is it aimed at? And how can people get involved? It sounds like something which is it's got some really good material in there.
So yes, establishing the Leaders and Entrepreneurs in Residence program was a strategic move that enabled us to build an environment that connects business leaders and the academic community, laying those foundations for close collaboration and co-creation activities which can ensure impact, scale relevant innovation, and provide a fertile ground for cross-pollination. So it is against this backdrop that the program was created. It is firmly centered on academia-industry collaboration, and the specific focus is on impact and dissemination. I sort of call it my reality check mechanism, because we want to ensure that what we are providing is answers to questions that matter, and that we are providing also our students with real-world knowledge and skills, and that our research is relevant in the real world. Just to mention that our leaders, through our Leaders and Entrepreneurs in Residence program, we're also creating a systems thinking critical mass. It's all the senior leaders that involved with the program are systems thinkers and systems leaders as well.
Right, so if you're involved in infrastructure and project delivery, then you should be looking up the business school to try and work out how it can maybe help you. Interesting, the University of Southampton states that it contributes more than £4 billion to the UK economy each year, largely due to the knowledge exchange and enterprise activities, of course, which you are very involved in. I mean, how do you fit into the wider university's knowledge exchange and enterprise activities?
So, in my role, I'm actually directly involved in driving the university's efforts to contribute to the UK economy. My role is pivotal in shaping the strategies and initiatives that connect our research and academic expertise with industry and public sector organizations in order to foster innovation and create business opportunities that address real-world challenges. By supporting and promoting these collaborative partnerships, I work to facilitate the exchange of knowledge between university and external partners and ensure that cutting-edge research and tech advancements are translated into practical application that can enhance productivity.
Yeah. And you talk about driving enterprise activity. How do you describe an enterprise activity then? What does it look like in the real world?
So enterprise activity refers to initiatives and actions that transform academic research into actionable insights, viable business ventures, products, services, solutions that can generate economic value.
So that's, at one end of it, it's spin-outs. At the other end of it, it's working with stakeholders to try to improve their businesses, etc. Is there a teaching role in there for you?
Yes. There is, in the sense that I do teach on our exec ed courses, something that I enjoy enormously. I can see mindsets shift during the course of a day.
Yeah.
So it's immensely rewarding.
I mean, that's an important part of the university process, and you do hear quite a lot. When the universities have got such a lot of pressure to raise and generate income through research, academics' time teaching is under a lot of pressure. You do actually make sure you spend enough time teaching.
On executive education and CPD courses, I am very committed to lifelong learning. Gone are the days when a university could say, here is your degree, go and work for 30, 40 years without any need to upskill. Nowadays, is no longer possible.
Jenny, let's talk bit more about you. You're a career academic researcher, having worked in various capacities at the University of Reading, Oxford University and Henley Business School and Imperial College London. Yet you're also rooted and passionate about industry. How do you maintain that engagement with industry?
So I deeply believe that academia generates new knowledge with the specific goal to make the world a better place. Indeed, the business school's vision is to transform business and society for the better. And this would not be possible without engagement with industry. So knowledge exchange and enterprise is a truly two-way process, and people are at its core. So it is a route through which we bring in knowledge and experience from external stakeholders, but also a route through which research and knowledge are translated into forms that provide benefits to the world and society.
Well, I did a bit of digging around, and you recently published a paper on how to make enterprise activities enjoyable and impactful. Was that a personal drive to focus on fun?
It was indeed. So knowledge exchange and enterprise activities are fun because allow us to make a positive difference in the real world. And because they involve a certain dose of creativity and empathy. So my co-author and I wanted to share our enthusiasm and passion for such activities.
Okay. You're Italian born, you're a Spanish speaker. So give us a bit of background. How do you end up in the UK as an academic then?
Right. I came over to study, do my master. I accepted a job that was meant to be for a year or two. Then I thought, well, I'll do my PhD while I'm at it. And over 2 decades later, here I am.
Oh, right.
So I do love the UK, and it's now home.
Yeah. Well, you live in the New Forest.
I do.
And I think you describe yourself as a dog person. Tell me about your dogs. And is it as idyllic a life as it sounds?
It is, even more so actually. I go to work in the morning and I drive through the forest and I see ponies and I see wildlife and deer crossing the road. It helps me prepare mentally for a day at work. I love walking my dogs in the forest. I just could walk for miles.
Well, what are they? What breeds have you got?
They're Newfoundlands. So they're not small dogs.
Oh my lord, that's from yes. I it's coming back to me now. I remember you telling me about these very large beasts.
They are very large beasts, but very docile, very affectionate.
Yes. Very affectionate 60-kilogram beasts.
Yeah, even 70.
Oh, really? Goodness me. Holy moly, that's a lot of food. I also read recently that you said, those who know me know that I'm a big fan of classical music with a penchant for anything Beethoven ever composed. That is your not-so-secret passion then, is it? Classical music?
It is. Classical music and opera. They are not-so-secret passions. And they provide the soundtrack to my days. Whenever I'm working on something, you can hear opera or classical music in the background.
Okay. Is it listening or just listening, or do you actually partake in the creation of it yourself?
Oh, no, good Lord. You don't want to hear me play or sing. It's better for me to just listen.
Great. When I spoke to you, though, recently, and you told me about the Newfoundlands, as I remember, you also, I think, remarked that you didn't have any spare time because you're a workaholic. Is that true? I mean, what else do you get up to? You walk the dogs. Anything else apart from working?
I love working because I love my job. So it's not a chore. I love what I do. But outside of work, I read a lot. I read fiction, something that has got nothing to do with the business world. I love walking my dogs. I also train my dogs and compete in canine activities. But don't tell anyone, it's a secret. So
it's these agile 70-kilo Newfoundland dogs. So I'm just getting a mental picture going at the moment. Anyway. As I said, you live down in the New Forest, Hampshire, and you're very engaged with the New Forest Business Partnership. What is that and why are you involved?
So the New Forest Business Partnership is one of the many organisations that we work with to support local growth and implement our civic agenda. It is a not-for-profit organisation. It supports over 9,000 businesses in the New Forest, spanning diverse sectors, diverse sizes, to unlock opportunities and provide the resources that these businesses need to grow and prosper. The why we work with them is simple. It is a testimony to our commitment to the local economy and to support local businesses and local growth.
Right, yeah. You are, as I said, you're incredibly busy because another thing you do, there's many things you do, you also run a coaching skills for managers and leaders course. It's aimed at trying to provide softer skills. Why is that so important, and who particularly is in your kind of mind when you're trying to actually promote these softer skills?
So yes, colleagues within the school, we've developed this course, this program, which is primarily aimed at individuals in leadership or managerial roles who want to enhance their ability to effectively lead teams, foster professional development and drive performance. So this includes senior managers, middle managers, team leaders, exec across various industries who are looking to improve their leadership capabilities, create high performance teams and develop a more supportive and collaborative workplace culture. So when you think of systems leadership, for instance, systems leaders need to foster trust, need to foster collaborations. Coaching would be very useful for systems leaders.
And you reflected recently on the barriers faced by female entrepreneurs when entering business world. What does your experience and research tell us about those barriers?
So it's not a secret that female entrepreneurs face unique barriers when entering the business world, and they stem from structural, cultural, and economic challenges. So based on my experience, there are several key barriers. First of all, access to funding. And women often face significant hurdles in securing capital and often have to turn to personal savings or smaller scale loans, and this limit growth potential. Then there is the work-life balance expectations, gender bias and stereotypes, but also industry representation. And in certain industries such as infrastructure, constructions or manufacturing, you can see that these have been traditionally male-dominated, and this creates added barriers for women.
So there's a lack of role models in there to try to help and to support.
Yes, definitely. But despite these challenges, female entrepreneurs have shown remarkable resilience.
Right.
And there are remarkable initiatives such as female-focused venture funds, mentorship programs, inclusive networking events. We've run some within the business school, For instance. We've got some programs focused on female entrepreneurs.
Because there's a lot of research that does suggest and highlight that better gender balance stimulates openness, creativity, and innovation. How would you say the infrastructure could embrace this thinking and more effectively tackle its current gender imbalance and its diversity imbalance?
So, by fostering a more inclusive culture, so the world of infrastructure has come a long way, but plenty still remains to be done. And research shows that businesses and organizations that are more inclusive and where there is more female representation tend to outperform in areas like innovation and sustainability, and so emphasizing the importance of breaking down these barriers.
Right, yeah. Go back to the business school. You recently welcomed your latest MBA cohort at the business school. Why are, in your view, MBAs still useful as a training tool, as a qualification in infrastructure?
So an MBA is highly valuable to develop leadership skills. We know that often those who choose a career in the world of infrastructure mainly have a technical and or engineering background.
Right.
However, there are skills that are vital, especially when leading organizations and teams. So an MBA continues to be a strong asset in the infrastructure sector because it develops You can develop strategic decision-making skills, project management skills, leadership and team management skills, sustainability and innovation competencies, which are not exactly part of a technical or specifically technical background or degree.
Yeah. I mean, would you say that the sector, the sector is very good at the technical bits, would you say it's getting better at the business side of the industry?
I think so, yes. I speak to a lot of engineering companies, and they do realize that they need to upskill their workforce in the softer business skills. Yeah. Yes, there is a growing emphasis on upskilling and leadership development.
Yeah. But it's not just the softer bits. I was talking to Katie Dowding on the podcast from Skanska, and she was talking about the need to really focus on what it is we're actually trying to achieve through the technical delivery, through the investment. Whose lives are we trying to change? And I suppose that goes to the point about what is the business plan? What's the business proposition for that investment? That is something which the industry needs to focus more on, I presume.
Yes, absolutely, I agree. Not only that, but for instance, take AI. Right, AI is going to have an impact on the business. So you need to develop those skills that allow you to understand what it means for business planning, for strategy, for the workforce. So I must say, fostering the critical thinking, the strategic thinking is very, very important. Yeah.
So who should potentially apply to join your MBA program? Because they're not for everyone, are they? Who do you target, or who's best suited to embracing this world of business administration?
Well, MBAs are literally for everyone, as long as they meet entry requirements. Yeah. Right. So yes, as long as you meet the entry requirements, we're quite strict in terms of entry requirements. But whichever the sector or the company size, an MBA will enable you to acquire new skills and develop business acumen and reflective leadership capabilities. So yes, definitely for everyone. As long as you want to acquire new skills and new knowledge that you can take back into your organization to lead it better.
But not immediately at the start of your career. Is it a mid-career sort of thing you do, or what?
Yes. So we are AMBA accredited, and our AMBA accreditation, for instance, means that we take in cohorts which have at least 3 years experience in the workplace.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's talk about the next generation just as we move to a close, because I see that in October you hosted students at the launch of CPAR, the Careers, Employability, Placements and Alumni Relations activities. And that's dedicated to developing students' employability and entrepreneurial skills. I suppose it's making sure that when students leave university, they actually understand how they can maybe get a job. Is that what the program's all about? Why is it so important for you?
Yes, you got it in one. So CPAR is a dedicated team that is part of the knowledge exchange and enterprise function. And its aim is to support students with careers and employability, and by developing employability and enterprise skills. Also by exploring career paths and preparing them for the future workplace. So we call it the route to the workplace. So we do expose them to real world challenges. We encourage them to work with businesses and to apply their knowledge to real world challenges.
Yeah. Is that something you think universities could do more of? Do they do enough to help students to properly understand the world of work? And I'm doing the quotation marks, the world of work, whatever that is.
I think we're getting much better at it. And within Southampton, I can say that we make sure that we provide our students with multiple opportunities to engage with industry throughout their degree programs. As I was saying earlier, we take employability really seriously and run several activities to develop employability skills.
Yeah. Because fundamentally it's all about making sure that the best and the brightest students choose careers in infrastructure.
So to me, to attract top talent to the infrastructure sector, it is important to emphasize that infrastructure is not merely about the physical structure. It is fundamentally about people. Infrastructure is the backbone of how society functions. It provides essential services that directly impact the well-being of individuals and communities. And it also, it represents complex, not complicated, complex socio-technical systems that enable the delivery of services that are vital to everyday life. However, the social dimension of infrastructure often is overlooked. I think bringing it back in, I think it will attract more talent to the field.
Well, finally, just to round off an interesting romp through your world, Jeni, you ran an SME Open Day at the University of Southampton Business School recently, an opportunity to connect academia with small businesses and explore partnerships, which is, I suppose, the essence of what you get up to there. How did it go? And what is your advice to any professionals working at businesses looking to engage with universities, Southampton or any other? What are the do's and don'ts when it comes to actually forming these partnerships with academia?
So the day went really, really well. And it must be clear by now that I see huge benefits in academia and industry collaboration. However, this type of collaboration also requires careful management to ensure that it succeeds. So there are a few things that are must-dos in my opinion. And the first thing is to align objectives early, or as we want to call it, front-end the project or the partnership. Then we must have clear communication channels, define roles and responsibilities straight on, and focus on long-term value, not short-term gains.
Right.
Some of the things that must be borne in mind and don't do is don't ignore the cultural differences. Academia and industry operate differently at a different pace as well. So that's why I was talking about right at the start to align objectives and also trade-offs. So focus on shared outcomes, acknowledge that we move differently, different pace, and we possibly have to also agree that we won't achieve all that we want, either part from the collaboration and partnership.
Because I suppose fundamentally it's a symbiotic relationship you're trying to create there.
We need to work for the mutual benefit. So both parties have to ensure that there is a mutually beneficial relationship, acknowledging that some things are going to be left along the way because we can't achieve all that we are aspiring. But there must be a shared outcome that we work towards.
Brilliant. Well, Jeni, it's a really interesting world you inhabit there, and there's loads going on there. So, and you've been super busy, clearly. So, thanks for taking time out to join me today on the Infrastructure Podcast and for sharing your thoughts.
No, thank you, Anthony. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for allowing me to share my passion for knowledge exchange and collaborations and partnerships and systems thinking.
Great stuff. Well, I look forward to maybe meeting up in the New Forest and having a closer inspection of these large Newfoundlands and see how they get on with my dog, the Daphne, the Basset. So thanks very much, Jeni. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we've got time for now on the podcast, but there's more in the pipeline as we continue to probe the big issues faced across the sector. If you haven't done so already, do check out the Infrastructure Podcast website, www.infrastructure-podcast.com, where you will find background information and all the latest podcasts to listen to and to share. So thanks for joining us. Thanks again to Jeni, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.